Hey artists, and welcome back to Art at Heart. If you're new here, this is a crafting and DIY channel. For those who follow me, I'm sorry it's been a hot sec. I honestly don't know why I haven't put out a video in a really long time, but I had to come back for spooky season. I mean, Halloween is like my favorite holiday, so I couldn't resist. I've been wanting to do this craft for forever. It's all over Pinterest. So essentially, you go to a thrift store, find a super ugly statue that's made out of porcelain, and you paint it spooky. So mine is kind of inspired by Morticia from the Addams Family. She's not quite that because she's a younger female, and I don't know, but she kind of has those vibes. And I used ceramic paint, and I'm going to show you how I did this today. You know, I can speak, it's fine. Let's go ahead and get started. To begin, you're going to start off by painting the entirety of the statue's dress all black. For some reason, I lost the video or it didn't record, but anywho, it's super self-explanatory. I think you should be able to do it without a tutorial. I started to paint the spider web on the neckline. I would highly recommend to look up an image of a spider web just so you can have it right in front of you as you're painting this. Oh, I forgot to mention, you will need to use ceramic paint for this. Normal paint will just rub off. Here is where we add the lines going across in the spider web. Make sure the lines going across have a concave pattern and that the dip goes towards the center of the spider web. Continuing the ooky spooky theme, we're going to add some spider webs onto the sleeve of our dark bride. I don't know if she's a dark bride, but she's wearing all black. For the sleeve, I would start by adding a black half circle on her shoulder and then make another circle around that solid circle. And then add some lines going down, and then we'll put lines going across after that step, of course. And we're going to, guess what, add more lines. So I decided to do a little bit of tiny itsy bitsy lines inside the non-filled in circle. And then we're doing those concave shapes again. Now, your girl desperately needs some makeup, so that's what we're going to give her, and some colored contacts, and darken those eyebrows. So for the lips, I kind of just traced what was already on the statue, and added some darker colors by mixing some black. And now I'm just giving more definition to the eyebrows, shaping them a little bit more. This took so many tries to get the eyebrows right. And guys, remember, they're not identical twins, they're just siblings. And then for the ceramic paint, I didn't have the exact shade I wanted, so I mixed this green and blue together to kind of get more of a greeny green instead of like that mucus green, which I wasn't a huge fan of. And then I mixed in some black to get it even darker, as you can see, to kind of give the eye a little bit more depth. Now we're going to give her some wing eyeliner and some luscious lashes. And here comes them pupils. Ooh yeah. I apologize in advance for her face not really being in view, but essentially I added some reflection marks using white paint. Now we're gonna paint that hair as black as my soul. For the portions that have larger amounts of paint, I would highly recommend to do 2 to 3 coats for each thing. Ah, yes, now we are going to be painting the roses red. Comment below if you know what that's from. Then I decided to give this lovely girl a little beauty mark. Here comes the blood red bandana. Okay, you are for sure going to need to do multiple coats of this. I think I had to do about 3 coats of this to get it to actually cover up the blue. So if you're painting on a piece that already has darker colors, it's definitely going to be harder. That's part of the reason I ended up choosing this statue out of all the different statues I could have picked at the thrift store. I thought the dress was looking a little too plain, so I decided to add some detailing around the neckline by adding small little red and white dots. Unfortunately, you really can't see the dots that I'm making on camera, but they are there. I used a very thin brush and they're just very slight. So I thought the dress was a little too black, so I decided to add a red ribbon around her waist. The bandana striked me as a little too plain, so I decided to go in with some more dot detailing around the edge. The color I'm using is the same as her eye color. I really wanted to tie in all the colors that I had been using on the rest of her body and dress. It was still looking a little too plain, so I decided to add in a green little line right above the dots. Of course, I wanted to add in some even smaller white dots in between those tiny green dots, because I'm a mad woman. Skipping back to the front of the dress, you're going to add a little white gem at the bottom of all the other dots. And guess what? We are going to continue the dot pattern around the top of the bandana. Dot, 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 dot. Don't you hate when people text you and you just get the little dot 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 pop up and you're like, what are they gonna say? Okay, now you add white dots. Dot 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 dot. I don't know what else to say, guys. Now, keeping in theme, we have to add one more spider web for that good old bandana. I'm not going to explain how to do this particular spider web just because I've explained it throughout this video, and I don't think you really want another explanation because it's pretty self-explanatory, and I'm sure you're getting tired of hearing my voice. I did make sure to make the spider web extend all the way across the bandana. You might want to also have a jar of water on hand because the ceramic paint for some reason is super thick and is not easy to paint with. So often if you water it down a little bit, it becomes a lot more smooth to work with. Next, we're going to add a little red dot in the middle of our gem. Oh, and now we're adding the white dots. I guess we're going backwards, guys. Okay, and now I decided to add some more dot elements on the bottom of the dress to tie it all together. We're going to start with the white, and then we're going to, guess what? Go to red. Shocking, I know. For the red dots, I decided to do 2 in between the white dots. You're gonna have to do these really, really tiny, guys. And I'm sorry if my camera work is not the best. I am just not great with figuring out above my craft project setup. I tend to like to put my face almost directly in the crafting project I'm doing, and so it's super hard for me not to get my head in the frame. Oh, buddy boy, here comes the skull making. So this is out of polymer clay. I would start off by making an alien shape and then starting with the eyes. They are the easiest thing to make. For the nose, you do a slight triangle. And then I'm just taking tools and trying to form a skull-like shape. It is very difficult. Honestly, my tutorial for this part is probably not the best. You can find plenty of tutorials on YouTube of how to do this better. But honestly, this was just really tiny and kind of hard to work with, especially, like I said, I'm not the best at recording and crafting at my best level because, like I said, I like to have my face directly in it. If you want to see a really great clay tutorial, my Yoda one is amazing. I had a slightly different overhead setup and it was just a lot easier. So you want to make about 4 or 5 of these skulls, and I didn't bother to put black polymer clay in because that just would have made it so much harder. So I just decided to go ahead and paint the concave parts of the skull. Next, we're gonna add the skull's teeth, and I kind of just had a skull image up in front of me and followed roughly what the teeth looked like. via that. Like I said, this is not my greatest work, but it's also really tiny, and it's not supposed to be the most prominent part of the statue anyway. It's kind of just an accessory to go along with my cute little goth girl. Now, I wanted to add a little bit more pizzazz to these skulls, so I decided to make them look like Day of the Dead skulls. So I added some flower elements, some polka dots, of course, and all of the themed colors that were seen on the statue throughout the video. And last but not least, I used super glue to glue the skulls into the basket with those red and white flowers. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me some thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment and hit that subscribe button. And until next time, this is Brianna, signing off.